Hello, I'm Stephanie Toman, and this is a video with regards to slideshows. So this is the part of the syllabus for the ICDL Advanced Presentation Software Qualification. We're using PowerPoint and we're demonstrating some areas such as the slideshows where you've got action buttons, so you can use hyperlinks to jump around, either to next slide, last slide, URL, so you can go outside of the PowerPoint, take people to the internet, show them links there. You could show them other files as well, documents. There's lots of things you can do using these action buttons. They're really useful. There's also an area called custom shows where you can generate a custom show from lots of different PowerPoint presentations, and then you can use transitions on it, etc., to set it up. Another good area is the setting up a show. You know, when people, for example, go in and they have a presentation going on a loop and you're walking around, maybe on an exhibition or something, that's the sort of thing they're using. And there's lots of little tick box areas in there that you can activate or enable. And that's all part of the syllabus too. Slideshow techniques is all about what you do while you're presenting. So you can use pens, you can underline things, you can change the background, you can put up a blank screen if you want to talk about something else. There's lots of things you can do whilst you're still in a PowerPoint presentation. So you may be watching this because you're doing the PowerPoint or the presentation, as we call it, the qualification, the ICDL qualification for advanced. Or you might just be doing it because it's helpful to find out a few more bits that you can add to your skill set. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Thank you. You can use the same presentation and the files that I'm using if you want to practice and go through them with me. So first thing I've got to do is we're going to look at what we're using, and we're using action buttons. Action buttons are in the Insert tab, drop the shapes down, and there they are. And if you hover on them, they will tell you what they are. Action button information, the document, as I speaks for itself, like it could be a document, going forward or next, and then you've got things like action button home, and then you've got your customize button. So just be aware of those for a minute. So like I said, they can jump to another slide in that presentation, they can jump to another presentation, they can jump to the web, email, and different files that you could bring in as well. It's a really rapid way of getting there while you're in delivering mode, presentation mode, and you're presenting. So let's have a look at the first one. So it's asking us to open up the training presentation. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to go and get the files there. If we look at the files that I've got, if you go up a minute, they are going to be in the week 5, section 5, and they're going to be in the work files because these are projects, these areas that you can do. I'll show you those in a little while. This is the presentation I'm using, so let's open up the work files and open up training. We'll just get rid of that in a minute. So we've got the training slides alongside, or PowerPoint alongside our lecture. So if we read the first one, it's about using action buttons linking to a slide. So we're going to create an information action button on slide 2. So that's the most important thing in the test, is make sure you're on the right slide. So we're on 2 and we're going to do an action button. So we're going to go insert, drop down the shapes, look for an information action button. There it is there. Click on it. Draw it out on the slide. They may ask you to put it in a particular place. Follow the rules or the instructions. Click on the hyperlink to, and we'll drop down, we'll go to slide, and then it gives us the options of different slides, and we're going to 7. Okay, so that one's done. We go to our next slide instruction. We've now got a slide in another presentation. So we're going to create an information custom action button from slide 4. So let's go to slide 4. And it's going to link to slide 1 of the CIA seminar presentation in the slideshow files. So we're going to go and get our button, and we're going to use the custom, which is this blank one here, draw it out, and then we're going to hyperlink to, drop the options down, and this side we're going to an other PowerPoint presentation. brings up our files where we went earlier. In the exam, they will be in the simulated Z drive, just like you'll be sat there with the Z in instead of the C. And we're going to open up our seminar, CIA seminar, just following this over here. And it wants us to go slide 1, which is already on. So we OK and we OK. So that one's done. Move to the next slide. This time we're going to do a document button to create a document. And we're going to put it from slide 5. So go to 5. Make sure we're in the right one. Insert again. Drop down. I think you know it by now. Look for the document one. Draw that one out and go to hyperlink to, drop that down, and we're going to go other file, and there's our sample file, Word document, and OK. So it says to try them, but as you noted on the first slide, when you go to slide 7, so if we go to slide 2 and we go into presentation mode, let's just bring my display down. I've got too many windows. So if we go in here and we clicked on 2 and went like that, we get to 7. There's no way of coming back. So it's really not a good idea. I know we've done it just for fun. But you could go to 7 and you could get another one to go back to somewhere else. So it might be going back to 3 if you've not covered it yet, or 4. So when you've recently used them, they become available here. But you could go and choose your own. And then you could just do a hyperlink back to slide, and you could go to 4, for example. So that would work. So have a little play with them in presentation mode and see how they work. Before moving on to the hyperlinking, just make you aware that these are objects. So you'll get the format tab and you'll get sizes and things like that. They may ask you in the exam to change sizes and make them all the same, etc. So just be aware that they are still an object even though they're doing something. With regard to hyperlinking, let's have a look at this next slide here. We're going to look at, so we're going to change that to a website. And we're going to pop a website link to CIA training. So if we do, we could put CIA training as our text. We could copy that, right click and go to hyperlink, or if not, go to insert. Just going to open this up a little bit so we can see better, and you can see your hyperlink there. Okay, so we've got our hyperlink and we've got our address. So they will give you this in the exam. So CIA training. ciatrain.ing.co.uk. You can see the text displayed is up there as that. And when you go onto it, if we go into, just give us a minute, into slide mode, change it to the duplicate one, and if you click on it, then you will hopefully, as I've just got over here, escape, it's shown me the website there. So it's actually gone to the website CIA training. Okay, so you could do one to Coventry University if it helps. So if we just minimize this a little bit again, let's move on to our next slide. So that's hyperlinking, which is really useful as well. This one now is about opening up the custom shows. So we're going to use the business presentation. I think we'll close this one. So if you open up business, I'll pop it over here. And it says save the presentation as custom. So file, save as, save it into your drive. Always use the browse when you're in the exam, because by using the browse, you'll see the Z drive coming up here. So I'm just going to pop it on my desktop for now. Actually, I might just put it into the ones I've got. So I'm going to call it custom, but I'm going to put it at the end so I can delete it afterwards, because obviously presentation purposes will believe it will pretend it's custom. So we're going to save that. Then it says create a new custom slideshow. So if we go into the slideshow, there's actually a custom slideshow option here. So if we click on the custom shows and we click on new, we can call it finance. And then we can pick the slides it wants us to add. So it's 1, 4, 9, scroll down, 11 and 12. So we're going to add those over to the one called finance. This is our custom show. So custom shows, a good example would be, is if you had two different departments, one was finance related and one wasn't. And you might have certain slides that fit to their subject area, if you like, or the way that they work. And you may have something more light-hearted for marketing or something. So you might have the same presentation with all the information in it, but then customize it according to your audience. So then it says run the custom show and end the custom show. So we'll OK, and we'll show. So it's coming up. I'll just change my displays again so you can see. So it's running it. So you just go down. So you run it. Escape, come out of it, and then ended it. So we've done that. Then finally edit the custom show to include slide 2 after 1. So back into the show. This time we've got a name called finance. We go in there. Let's escape. Let's go back in there again. Sorry. So custom shows. If you go onto the finance, it runs it. And we're going to edit. And we're going to pick slide 2. But it's going to be after slide 1. So it's called mission statement. And we're going to bring it up. So it's after slide 1 and OK. And once again, if we show, it'll do that. So if we close, that's fine. Remember, if you go into custom shows, do that, it shows, do that, you go in and you can edit. So let's just have another look at the next slide. We're going to look at some transitions. So if we think about transition in a sort of presentation, transition is always about how the slides come in, and it's good practice to keep them the same unless you've got a particular slide that you want to emphasize. So if I just open this up a little bit, you can see a bit more. You've obviously got your types of coming in, but you've also got the effects that you can have coming in as well. So you can change those, and it's a lovely effect, that is. I always find it really, really good. But be aware that that's the sort of things you can do. But you would apply that to all. So if I open it up again, you can see that it's on the first one, but then I can apply to all. And then if I go into slideshow, onto here, you can see that that happens on all of them. And it's really nice the way it is. Very sort of soothing, really, isn't it? Maybe that's me. Okay, so on this next slide, we're actually going to follow some instructions with regard to transitions. So we're using the custom, which is what we've got here. We called it business custom, but it's the same slide. Apply airplane transition effect with the direction of coming from the left. So let's have a look for our airplane transition effect. There it is there. And it wants us to come from the left. Whoa, okay. Set the transition effect duration. So you've got your duration here. So we're going to change that to 2. Okay. And ensure that the advanced slide on the mouse click is ticked. So the advanced slide here, we make sure that that's ticked, and it is. It's on mouse click. And then select apply all to slide. So then we can then go apply all, and then that effect has taken place. So let's have a quick look at it. I'll change my duplication. There we go. Ooh. I don't know about you, but I don't find that as soothing as the previous one, but hey ho, it's just applying something, effects, and setting up the options, which is the sort of thing you'll do in the exam anyway. So, timings. As it says on this slide, you can also have timings applied to each slide separately. So what you can do is, this is like the rehearsed timings, and if we go into the slideshow, you can see lots of information along here. And you've got the usual that we use from beginning, from a current is Shift F5. And then you've got the rehearse timings. So the rehearse timings will show you the actual whole presentation in one window and the time that it takes for that presentation. The only thing I find about this is okay when it comes to the exam, but in real life what I find is that you talk a lot quicker when you're doing it rather than when you're practicing it. So they can become a bit disjointed, but it's entirely up to you. It's a good way maybe of finding out if you can get your presentation into 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It might be a way of getting you sped up a little bit or cutting through some of the text if you've gone too far with it. If we look at setting up the slideshow, so if we go into setup here, so setup slideshow, this is what this is going to show. I'll just pull it over here. So some of the areas they definitely deal with in the exam is loop continuously, they like that one. Showing without animation is another one. Changing that from manually from using timings to manually if they exist, if they're present. They're the main areas in the exam that you would be expected to know. But the biggest thing about this one is where to find it. So just remember where we found it, which is in the slideshow. Okay. And then the final slide is about when you're in presentation mode. So let's have a look at some of these things. You've got the annotation options pen. We'll have a look at that. Edit in the pen. Pausing, so you can display a black screen with a B. Right click black screen, or you can just do a B, or you can do a W for a white screen. Escape to come out. Okay, so, and I'll talk about the last bit in a minute. So let's go into this one again. Let's start the PowerPoint. Let's change to the show. So if I right click, I can go and get a pen pointer or a highlighter, and I could highlight some. That's a really bad color, so maybe I need to change the color. So ink color black. So maybe I want to emphasize. Not doing very well, is it? Let's do pen. I think that's better. Okay, there it goes. Down a slide. Maybe I do a W button here and you get a white window, and then a B button after that one. B again, it goes back to normal. Maybe I want to emphasize that. Not very good at this, am I? Let me come down again. So all of these, if you like, are on a right click here. So you can go to next, you can go to previous if you want to. You can use those annotations, your custom shows you can get from there. You can use your pointer, eraser, so I can actually just try and erase something out. And also, as it says in the test, if you cannot see the answer button because your PowerPoint has gone into full mode like this, then if you hit escape, I'll discard those things. You can see your answer button again, but the best way to do it, as I've said, if I just minimize the slide and we open up this one, as I've said in here, in the diagnostic test, we'll practice this. If you use the escape key to access the button, it's not always available. If it is available, just click on it. Sometimes it just opens into the open window, simulated window, and not the answer button, which is on the question bar. But if not, then you can always go down and pick up. You'll be able to pick up the question bar. It'll be sat down here, and we'll show you how to do that when it comes to it. I'll do an example. And you can still answer while it's in that mode. Okay, so that's the slideshow techniques in week 5, section slideshows. Hopefully you've enjoyed that and have a little play and pick up some things. And this might be a good area while you're delivering some PowerPoint presentations yourself. Thank you.